I bought fake Molicel P45Bs in Ukraine. How you can learn from my experience, and hopefully the same will not happen to you. I need to step back a few steps here and explain how I got started in all this battery testing. When I started doing all the battery testing this past July, my plan wasn't to test all the high-power 21700s, spend tons of time on it, and create the definitive database and spreadsheet of the test results for real-world use cases. I was not planning to do any of that. I started doing this testing with one simple quest. I was looking to see if fake 21700s, especially the premium ones like the Molicel P45Bs, were being sold on the Ukrainian market. Why did I think this might be the case? Over the past couple of years, I've imported a bunch of high-power cells into the country here. Mainly these have been for my own use, for building e-bike high-power battery packs, for building Suron battery packs, mainly for my use. But some of the batteries have also gone to the needs of our military. In the process of doing all that over the last couple of years, I've gotten to know the battery market here in the country really well, and who's selling them and the prices and where they're being sold. And I've looked at all the sites of the popular battery sellers here, and besides just their websites, I've also looked at the two most popular marketplaces in Ukraine, and those are called OLX and Prom. For those of you who are not familiar with the marketplaces in Ukraine, I need to briefly explain the difference in what they are. OLX you can consider kind of like eBay in Ukraine, where you have a lot of individual sellers selling new and used items. It's not a lot of retail businesses or professional business sellers, more small individual sellers. Prom, you may say it's a little like Amazon, but not really. It's a lot of it's Amazon if all the sellers were third-party sellers. You have business sellers there, more established businesses, not really individual sellers. So that's considered a little bit more of a reputable marketplace. So I was looking at all the different sites where batteries were being sold. Because I'm really familiar with these cells and their pricing, I found something suspicious, and that was, with some sellers, they were selling the cells at suspiciously low prices. In other words, for a cell, let's take the P45B for example, they were selling these cells on the retail market for less than the cells actually cost when you consider the price of the cells, buying them in wholesale large quantity, plus the shipping cost, plus the customs cost. And I need to briefly explain how customs works in Ukraine, where for shipments that come in under 150 euros, they are customs duty free. However, for large shipments and for what businesses are buying large quantities of cells for, they pay a very high customs duty, about 32% of the entire value over 150 euros. So customs duty can be a big portion of the cell price. Anyway, I'd seen some sellers that were selling P45Bs in particular, but other cells too, for what seemed to be too good of a price to be true, too low of a price compared to what they actually cost. So I decided to focus, after I had looked at the market, mainly on the P45B. The reason is it's a high-end, high-power cell. Also, it's quite an expensive cell. About a year ago, if you were looking at them then, these were $7 to $8 cells. Even earlier this year in the summer, spring and summer, these were going in general from $6 to $7. You can see my P45B, P50B update for more pricing information. So, about the testing, how I went about it. Well, this again all started back in July. I actually did all this initial testing and found out about the fakes back in July. It's been kind of put on hold since then. But back then, when I started this testing, I bought and tested a bunch of different P45B cells, as well as other cells, from different sellers, Alibaba, AliExpress, Encon. Encon was used as a reference because Encon is a known reputable seller. They sell authentic, genuine cells, and they're very established in the marketplace. Then also, I bought the P45Bs from multiple different sellers in Ukraine, from large battery distributors, some that sell thousands and thousands of cells, all different brands and models they have, to very small mom and pop online shops. Then when I started the testing, I went through my normal battery of tests that you've seen in all my other videos for the constant 55 to 60, the high load test, 23, 30, 35 amp, the mixed load test. I did that usual battery of tests. And I use the results of the NCON cells as the reference of what an authentic real cell should perform like. In the P50B video, that 4-hour long big video, you can see all the detailed results of all the P45Bs that I tested before, the genuine ones. So I went through on every cell, did all those tests, also obviously tested the basic things like capacity, internal resistance, AC and DC, weight, dimensions and everything, and of course, like I said, the voltage drop on the high amp test. And right away I could tell that 2 of these cells out of all the P45Bs, 2 of them didn't match the others. First of all, the capacity of these 2 was different. Both of them interestingly exceeded the capacity of the real P45Bs by quite a bit. About the weight, one of them was quite a bit different, was more than the others. The other one very closely matched the weight of the real P45Bs. It was only about a half a gram more. So on that one, they picked a fake cell, a cheap cell to rewrap that was actually much closer to the real P45B weight. I'm assuming, so they thought if people were just checking them by weight for authenticity, they would see the weight was close and think it was authentic. Interestingly, also about size, one of the fake ones had quite a bit bigger diameter than all the other P45Bs, like almost 1 millimeter. So there was some physical differences. But the main difference was in the IR, the AC versus DC IR. Okay, so how to tell the difference between real and fake P45B. I've got here, I'll try to keep my hand out of the shot. I've got here on the left 3 real P45Bs. These are from NCON, purchased at different times and in different batches. Then I've got here on the right 2 fake P45B. And if you look at them, they're pretty convincing fakes. As far as labeling, looks pretty good on them. They do have a QR code. So these are real from NCON, this and this, and that one is real. These I tested back in summer. And these are fake. This one here is a fake, and this one here is fake. They both test like absolute garbage. They have a QR, they have a date code here. Here's the other fake one. Let's focus that. So the fakes, the labels on them look very real. Here is our end on that. You can see here's our negative end on the other one. I'll show it compared to the other P45Bs. I did note, if you can see here, again, try to keep my hand out of the way, there is a little, here are the 3 real again on the left. There's a little difference in color on the label, on the wrapper, on both of these. Here's one fake. Don't know if it's really coming through on camera. There's a slight difference you can see in there. But as far as labeling, they all look pretty good. On the top there, it has a little bit of a more pronounced edge than these other ones. See there on the left, there's a real. This is from NCON here on the left. And look at this one on the right. If I can hold them together, you definitely see a difference there, and you see a difference in the color. So there's that. Let's look at the other fake U3 to see. That is quite similar. Of course, the color, it's very close. If you only saw a batch of these, you probably wouldn't tell any difference. And again, the label is not really going to be the main way to see it. The wrappers they make are pretty good. Now let's look at the positive terminal. Hold on a second. Let me focus. Let's look at the positive terminal. So here is the NCON cell on the left. Here is number 1 fake on the right. This one, U3, is a fake. And here is number 2 fake on the right. Try to get it right in the light. Not really any big way to tell from the top there. Now, I'm going to look at weight here in a second. As far as, again, these are the real ones on the left. As far as weight and size, the weights are different, and I think weight is going to be one of the quickest ways that you can tell real or fake. So I'm going to show that here in a sec. Go back to my early testing and then update it here. One thing I noticed on one of the fakes here, the diameter was a good millimeter larger diameter than all the other real P45Bs. I don't have a calipers here to show you that, but yeah, it was pretty different. But as far as, you know, the physical appearance of the real cell, again, these N labeled ones, these are from NCon, so these are the real ones, versus the fakes. There's one fake, U2. Let's grab the other one. As far as, sorry, you keep going out of shadow. Here's the other fake. U3 is a fake. You know, the difference in physical appearance is not that noticeable. Not that big. So we're going to look at, obviously, performance. We're going to see where the real differences show, and let's look at weight and IR and all that stuff. Okay, weight, I showed it all in the previous testing, but I'm just going to go over and show them again really quick just to show the difference, because that's kind of a real quick way to see, because all the real ones were very consistent. So we have, these do the real ones first, N3, 6726, okay, N1, 6689. They're all right around 67. Most, I think, were a little lower. 6700. I'll put the spreadsheet on the screen, but here are our weight results for all the other tests, all the other cells, P45Bs we tested. So we have 6689, 6689, 6689, 6754, 6727. But when we get to these fake ones, U2 and 3, notice different weights. So let's check it again. According, okay, here is U2, 68. Oh, stop there. The bottom is not flat if you see it moving there. So 6839, bit of a difference there. And U3, 6752, just a little bit more on that one. You could probably, my guess is that whoever faked this one, they wanted to do a fake that looked, upon just initial inspection, a fake that looked, you know, closer to the real thing. So whatever the cheap Chinese thing is that's inside this wrapper, they picked a cell that has very close weight to P45B. So if somebody didn't have a, you know, jewelry scale that's accurate to 100th of a gram, just pop this on a regular scale and they're both going to say 67. So anyway, that's the weight. You can see that's a way to tell a little bit of a difference. Okay, so now let's look at ACIR. This is actually the best way to do a comparison rather than the DCIR, because DC depends on temperature, state of charge, all that stuff. I already showed that. So let's check first the real ones, ACIR. This is, by the way, this N4 is a brand new one. Just took out of storage. It's only had like one cycle of just a discharge test all the way to 2.5. So this is very close to being a new cell. All these other ones have gone through my group of tests originally. Okay, there's N1. You can see showing 635. By the way, these are just straight out of the box, didn't charge, didn't do anything. They're going to be at different states of charge, and they've all been sitting at ambient temp, which is now about 22 Celsius. Okay, and then this is N3. Again, you can see there it's only at 3.05 volts, so low state of charge. You can try and charge it up a little bit. It might change slightly, but AC doesn't really vary that much. So those are the three real ones. Now let's look at the fakes. There you go. That, I think, is a quick way to test and check. A little bit of a difference there. So now this one's of course at 403 volts, but look at that. We were all in the low 6s before, and I'll put the spreadsheet on the screen here where you can see all the P45Bs I've tested. It's a bunch of them. They're all like in the low 6. This one right at 14. Let's see the other one. Okay, and this fake U3, a little bit better, but you can see right there, 10.5. So I would say that if you're checking, wanting to check, you know, if you're building battery pack, obviously if you're buying a finished one, you can't do this, but if you're wanting to check and building, the quickest way is right there. Get a good professional ACIR meter and check to see if they're in the low 6s. So let's look at DC really quick. N1 from NCon at 342 volts. Oh, these are very nice low readings. Again, I tested these before, just turn up down. So this shows 11. Okay, and 3 for NCon. That's at 305 volts. Yeah, this definitely shows higher IR on the DC at lower voltage readings. It's not really high. Now the question is 32. The question is, where did it show before? So here's the previous test of it. There's N3, showed 0, 12, probably that was charged to like 3.8 volts. So like I said, and it was warmer, this was in the summer. So redoing IR now on N4, because before the voltage was too low. Just want to show the difference on DC IR. Now it's 395, and I also warmed up the cell on the radiator. So now you'll see the difference that you can see with DC IR. Before it was 3.0 volts, which by the way, you should never measure DC IR at that low voltage. And now it's 395 and warmed up. And there you go, 13. Okay, and then here's the new one, N4. Again, these are all just have been sending me a temp, which is cool now, like 21, 22. And now it charged up 362 volts, 0, 10. Okay, here's fake U2. This is sitting at 4.04 volts. Yeah, you can see a bit of a difference, 33. But again, remember that one genuine tested higher, but it, like I said, at a low state of charge, that affects it. Okay, and here's the other fake one, U3. First one is U2. And a kind of high state of charge on this one also, 23 is showing. So yeah, like I said, this isn't, the DC method isn't quite as reliable. It's not reliable for comparison. I don't know if it's really visible under this light or not, but there is a subtle color difference. These are more of kind of a light, creamy gray, the real ones. The fakes are a little darker, dingier gray. These are sort of a light creamy gray, a little bit of a color difference, but like I said, the label, you're not really going to tell by that. Fake one, U2, doing capacity test down to 2.5 at 0.9 amps, starting 4.19. And look at that, at 0.9 amps, already huge voltage drop, down to 409. This is all from my original testing. I did all this for the big Molicel P50B video, so you can see the detailed testing of the P45Bs in that video. Okay, first let's look at capacity. As I mentioned in my P45B, P50B update video recently, all the Molicels I've tested did not meet the advertised capacity, which is kind of a bummer and a surprise. These ones that here capacity, these ones here that are not highlighted, this is I originally tested down to 2.8 to not be so abusive on the cell. So this is what I was seeing, 4230, 4269, and then I went back recently and tested everything down to 2.5 to check it for the factory spec. So here's what I was getting: 4251, 4203, 4220, 4318. None of them hit 4500. A couple hit 43s. This P45B new is the one I have marked as number 4 here. This N4, this is a brand new one that hasn't done any other tests, so I wanted to see how the capacity would show, you know, brand new right out of the box, and 4363. Now originally in that big P50B video, I tested IR all on this machine, which just does DC IR, which I've already mentioned. It's not really repeatable. It's affected by a lot of different factors like temp and state of charge, but you could see I did all these similar temp and state of charge. They were all, this was in summertime, these were all like 27, 28 Celsius, and they were all around 3.7, 3.8 volts. I tried to have them pretty similar, and you can see here all the real ones were testing pretty close, 12, 13, 12, 9, and then boom, 26 for DCIR for one, 17 for the other. But the ACIR is really a much more repeatable result, not so affected by those factors. So you can see here we tested the ACIR on them, very consistent for the real P50Bs, all in the 6s, low 6 to mid 6s, 644. This new one here tested 664, a little higher than the others, but then take a look there in the fakes, 1399 for the first one, 1045 for the other ones. But the most dramatic result, the most dramatic difference you can see between the real ones and the fake ones is when you do them on the high amp test, 23 amp, 30 amp, 35 amp, even 10.4 amps. Now obviously this is messy, this is the original sheet from my test. I'll put on the spreadsheet. Now originally on the spreadsheet I have not included these fake ones because I didn't think it was really relevant to compare the fake ones with the real cells. But since we're talking about fake now, I'm going to go ahead and add these results to the spreadsheet. I'll put on the screen, and also I'll do some graphs showing the difference in performance between the real and the fake under load, because I think it's important to add that and show it graphically, the difference. But let's just talk briefly about, this was the first test. I'm going to do a couple more right now in the video here. This was the first test I did back in July. This was only at the 23 amp rate. So here are the voltage drops for the 45B, 374, 372. This was at 1 minute at 23 amps, and look at the fakes were 308 and 352. Initial voltage drop, the real ones were 387, 384, around there. This one was 339 and 366, so much more voltage drop. And I was kind of laughing about how poorly these perform, but it's actually not really a laughing matter because the cells are being sold as real in Ukraine. Their fakes are being sold as real, and what's important about that is a lot of them are being purchased for our military use, for our drone operators, for drone battery packs, and people are buying battery packs expecting to get real P50Bs with a certain amount of performance. You know, you pay more for P50Bs because they have higher amp output, they have higher capacity, so maybe you're using it for a large, you know, heavyweight drone that needs to go a long distance, and for that reason you know, you're speccing a P45B to meet those design requirements, and then someone buys the P45B quote-unquote labeled battery pack that they expect to have these cells, and obviously if they get this or this, it's going to perform much worse than they're expecting, and that can actually have really serious consequences if it's a battery pack for a military drone. Fake U2 down to 2.5, 4446. Okay, fake U3 on capacity 0.8 running overnight. That one went down much less. Quick thing to show, all these were on charge overnight. Put them back on, no, they sat for a while, put them back on to top up. And this fake one, U3, it was down to 408. So in other words, the charger 420 been sitting for a few hours, fully charged, and self-discharged in 4 or 5 hours, self-discharged to 408. Okay, so all 4 of these are charged. I'm running the test on 2 real, 2 from Encon. These, this, and that. These again have already been tested, P45Bs, but I'm going to just run them again in these 2 cells just for immediate comparison, and the 2 fakes. I'm running the constant 5560 test. If you don't know what that is, look at any of my past videos. I explain how it was developed. Short version 10.416 amps for 10 minutes, and we'll mark it at 1, 3, 5, and 10 minutes. We'll run the real ones first, then the fake ones, and for comparison, I'll show on the screen here the spreadsheet, but here you can see when I ran these tests before on P45B, this one ran the constant 5560, which is the first one I'm going to do, the 10.4. The number you're looking at here is initial voltage drop was 404, and then at the end of 10 minutes we were at 362 and plus 2.70 Celsius. Then on the 23 amp test I ran on 2 different cells. Initial voltage drop here, the number's 384, 387. After 3 minutes they were at 360 and 357, and there's our delta T. So this is for reference what the P45Bs tested at previously. Real P45B N4, this is the new one. Constant 5560 starting at 421. Off this new charger they all come off 421, 422. Starting temp, they're all going to be low, 21.6. .400. Come up on 1 minute, 389, 22.4. 3 minutes, 384, 24.3. Come up on 5 minutes, 26.2, 378. Okay, coming up on 10 minutes here, I'll remind that the previous P45B on this test, that was number M1, the military one, that finished at 362 and only plus 2.70 Celsius temp increase. We're at 362 now, but we have more temp increase, but that was much hotter starting temp, much warmer conditions. It performs better under warmer starting temp. So we're at 361, 29.5. P45B N3 real from Encon. Starting temp, 22.4. 400. 127, 388. No, at 1 minute it was 390. 390 and 23.5. 3 minutes, 25.1, 385. 5 minutes coming up. 26.8, 379. Coming up on 10 minutes. 29.8, 361. Very consistent with the first one. I have on charge, it went from 417 to 420, and then it shows immediately fully charged, and then I put on the tester and it's at 416. Also, this one, other fake one, had huge self-discharge. This just finished charge. This is number 4. This one I'm again recharging because it had big self-discharge. So this finished charging 420, but watch when I pop it on the tester, it's probably going to say below that. Yep, and there you go. 417. Just came off the charger, fully charged at 4.20. So again, not trying to change the results in favor of the Encon ones, showing that these, because they're, well, shitty, even when fully charged and you take off, there's like immediate self-discharge, or they just simply don't charge at 4.2. So anyway, this one fully charged at 417, starting temp 23.6. If either of these get too hot, I'm shutting down the test. 23.5. 366. Coming up on 1 minute here, just for comparison, the real cells were at 389 and 390. 359, 26.4. A little bit of a difference. As we come up on 3 minutes, as a reminder, the two real cells did 384 and 385. 384, 385. A little bit of a difference here. 356, 32.1. So as we come up on 5 minutes here, a reminder, the real cells did 378 and 379. So say you're designing a drone battery pack that needs to run for 5 minutes, you're planning for it to only go to 3.8, and you buy this, and it's at 351 and 36.7. And just a quick update on the worst one here. So this had, it's charged now 323 milliamp hours. That is just self-discharge. So from sitting for maybe 4 or 5 hours fully charged, it's had that much self-discharge. Okay, as we come up on 10 minutes here, I'll remind that the two real P45Bs now just did 361, both consistent 361. The P45Bs in summer did 362. No temp increase, obviously it's huge on this, I'll calculate after. So instead of 361, 362, we have 332 and 44.7. Pretty big difference. Doing the COSMETIC 5560, just came off charger, 419, 420. Starting temp 24.9. If this gets too hot, which it very well may, I will shut it down. So this will be interesting. 24.9. 391. Okay, coming up on 1 minute. 380, 26.2. Coming up on 3 minutes. This is at 375 and 29.2. The real ones were at 385, 384. Okay, coming up on 5 minutes. As a reminder, the real ones did 378, 379. This one's not performing as badly as I expected. 369, 31.7. Okay, as we come up on 10 minutes here, reminder, the others did 361. This one actually did not as bad as I expected, because on the 23 amp it was just abysmal. It shut down after 2 minutes. So this is not as bad, but obviously much worse than real. 350 and 35.9. 350 and 35.9. A very long break for charging. Ready to do the last test on these. So doing 23 amp for 3 minutes, starting with the real ones. This is N4, the new cell. Starting temp 23.2. 378. And again, all these tests are at lower ambient temperature, which is worse performance than warmer, but nothing I can do. 367 and 27.4. 2 minutes coming up. 32.0, 361. Previous P45B in summer did 360, so note, quite a bit worse, partially due to lower temperature. 354, 36.7. Encon Real N3, 23 amp. Starting temp 24.1. 379. 1 minute coming up. 28.1, 368. 2 minutes. 32.7, 362. So as I mentioned, the other two in the summer did 360 and 357. Definitely makes a difference. The cells like it and behave much better. Less voltage drop when they start warmer, like 27, 28 Celsius. Now we're in 22 Celsius ambient, and the performance is worse. More voltage drop, more temp increase. So they definitely perform better warmer, but at least this will be comparison. Okay, 354, 37.0. I'm putting on now. It finished charging, it's showing 420, but I guarantee you when we put on the thing, it's going to only be like 417. So it's an issue with the cell. Okay, 417, 16. It has huge self-discharge. It was just at 417, so whatever. It's fully charged. What can I say? So fake, you too. If either of these fakes heats up too much, I'm shutting it down. Starting temp 23.9. 326, holy shit. On these, I'm not going to pause it, I'm just going to let the video keep rolling so you can see what's happening here better. Maybe I'll speed up part of it. Yeah, the higher amp levels really show the difference on the fakes. At 10 amps, this one wasn't doing that terribly. Oh my god. Holy cow, we're already at 3 volts. It's not even a minute. Holy shit. Look at that. Look at that. This has to be worse than it was performing before, right? The last time it made it, okay, 284, 37.5. The last time, this one made it to 3 minutes, as I remember. So what does that mean? That it's doing so much worse now that a couple half cycles, no, it had 1 cycle capacity. Look at that. It's going to hit LVC. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. LVC. LVC. 131. I didn't see the temp. I have to write it down. Holy crap. Okay, and this last one here, I'm just showing that I'm charging them all exactly the same way, not to favor one or the other. It's on this new charger. This normally charges to like 420, 421. U3 fake. Just came off the charger. Was at 420, now hit 419, 420, you see. Starting temp, 24.9. 359. Okay, coming up 1 minute. 31.6, 345. Okay, fake U3 coming up on 2 minutes at 23 amps. Let's see if this one can make it to 3 minutes. Definitely doing better than the other one. 38.7, 338. But again, just to illustrate the difference, the real ones, this test, the end of 3 minutes, they were at 357, 354. In summer, we were at 357 and 360. So even though this one isn't as bad as the other one, and obviously the temp increase is higher too, you know, compared to ending at 3.60, we're already down to 3.3 volts. Okay, coming up on 3 minutes. $45.8, 332. $45.8, 332. Okay, and just real quickly, here's the results of everything. I know it's a mess. Here's mixed load. Here's 23. Here's the real N3. Here's the real N4. So these are the raw results that I wrote down. Here's the fake number 2. Here's the fake number 3. So I'm going to go ahead, make nice update on the spreadsheet with these, make graphs, and then analyze the results of everything. Okay, here are the charts I made with the results of the test. Let's go over them briefly. First of all, this is the constant 5560 test, 10.4 amps. This is the voltage drop here in blue. As you can see, quite a bit of difference. The bright blue, first two on the left, those are the original P45Bs. The lighter blue, third and fourth on the right, those are the fake ones, number 2 and number 3. You can see U2 has much more voltage drop across the spectrum, across the timeline. U3 has a little less, but they're both significantly more voltage drop than the real cells. So you can see there the difference. Next one here in red, this is temperature increase. Again, the 10.4 amp 10-minute test. This is showing each cell temperature increase for 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, and 10 minute. You can see here huge difference. If you look at the 10 minute, which is the one on the right, the real one's very consistent, 7.4 and 7.9. U2 is just ridiculous amount of temperature increase over 10 minutes. It's amazing it even made it, 21.2 compared to 7. And even U3, the other fake, had plus 11 Celsius. Next temperature increase chart, I just have it organized by time. So you can see here at 1 minute, the different cells. Again, originals are the first two on the left. Look at like 3 minutes. And even look at 5 and 10 minutes, the originals were very, very consistent, very close to each other. Even at 10 minutes, the originals were plus 7, plus 9. And you can see at 10 minutes, the U2 plus 21, U3 plus 11. So again, the main point here, besides the fact that the fakes have much more temp increase, is that originals are distinguished by their consistency. They have very consistent voltage drop and consistent temp increase. Okay, next here in green is the 23 amp, the 3-minute load test. Again, the originals are the two on the left, the darker green ones, voltage drop. The two on the right are fake U2 and fake U3. And main thing to note here is that for the 23 amp test, fake U2 didn't even make it to 2 minutes. It was a DNF. It died after 1.5 minutes, hit low voltage cutoff. So that's why you don't see 2 and 3 minute results for U2. But again, I mean, the difference here is just crazy. You can see the initial voltage drop, the two real ones very similar, almost 3.8, and the fake 3.3 and under 3.6. So much greater voltage drop. And then obviously over time you get to 3 minutes. The real ones, again, very consistent, and the fake had much worse voltage drop. So very clearly shown. And again, I didn't do this at 30 amps, 35, 40 amps, which the P45B can do, because I don't trust the fake cells to handle that load. Now the red, going to temperature, again, this is organized first by cell, so you can see the 1 minute voltage drop, 2 minute and 3 minute. The real ones, the two on the left, are very consistent with each other. And then if you look at P45B fake U2, it didn't make it to 3 minutes, but even at 2 minutes had much more huge temp increase than the real ones. And even U3 had much more temp increase than the real ones. And finally, this chart is just organized by time. So you can see again on the left side, the real ones very consistent, and on the right, much more temp increase. So I think these charts I made show the difference very, very clearly. And just finally going to the full spreadsheet here, I just cropped it to show all the P45Bs. So you can see the original P45B test in the summer, those are in black. The real P45Bs that I've tested now are in blue, and you can see they're quite consistent with the original test. The only difference to note is on the originals, they did a little better. In the black, the test in summer did a little better because, like I said, it was warmer then, and the cells perform better at 27, 28, 30 Celsius than they do now at 21 Celsius. And then look at the bottom, you can see red, and you can see the difference in the test for the fake cells. And just this last slide shows the ones that I just tested now. Blue, the real, obviously, red, the fake, and you can see the difference. So you may ask, well, what about contacting the sellers of these fake cells? Did I contact them to let them know that they were selling fakes? Well, at that time in July, I didn't. And actually, as of yet, when I'm recording this, I have not contacted them yet either. I was hoping that there was going to be an undercover news investigation by some news organization here that was going to buy more cells, more samples undercover, expand upon the testing I did, and then confront the sellers of the fake cells. But so far, I've not contacted these sellers, and they are still selling on the market now. Now, I initially was not going to include the sellers in this video and the description of them, but I think I'm going to go ahead and include and mention who the sellers are and show screenshots of the orders and exactly where these came from. After this video is done, I'm going to go ahead and contact the news agencies again, and hopefully they will take further action on it. So anyway, here are the sellers, and I wrote on the cells themselves where they came from. This first cell came from a place, both were ordered from the Prom website. The first one came from a place called Service Center Akron. You can see here photos from when I received it. Each cell I received, I took a picture along with the tracking number and the label, so I kept track of where each cell came from. So this first one was from Service Center Akron. There's the order. And then the second one came from a place called Rokotok. And here's the photos of the cell when it arrived, and the orders as well. Now, interestingly, these were purchased, like I said, back in July, so it's 5 months ago now. I went and checked both of the sellers' sites to see if they're still selling the P45B, and which means possibly they're still selling fake P45Bs. Well, the first one, and you'll see on the screen here, the Service Center Crown, they are still selling the same P45B on the same site. Rokotok, on their site, they have a page listing for the cell, but they show that they're out of stock. Another fact to mention here is neither of these are huge battery sellers. They're not the big wholesalers that have thousands of different cells listed. There are some places here that specialize in them. They're both a little smaller shops. The Service Center Akron, their product line mainly is for mobile phone repairs. That actually means like repairing for screens. So they have a lot of phone accessories, mobile phone parts and screens and that, as well as battery. This Rokotok, I'll show their page here, they have a lot of just kind of inexpensive items, games and kids items, so obviously batteries are not a specialty for them either. So these are not large battery sellers, which I guess is good, but again, not good that they're selling fake cells on the market here. So these are the sellers. Also note that they both have a lot of feedback on the Prom site. They both are established, have been on there a long time, and both have 99% positive feedback. So they're established sellers, but again, both of them I got fake cells from. While watching this, one thing you might be asking yourself is, well, why not remove the labels? Take the labels off and see what's underneath there, if there's any kind of marking on the cell casing, or if we can tell what it is. Well, I've struggled with that question for months. Ever since I first did this testing, I've wanted to take the labels off and see what's underneath. I was even looking on Alibaba to see if I could find some cheap cells that kind of met the capacity and weight requirements. I was trying to figure out exactly which $1 cells were being rewrapped as P45Bs here to see what cells exactly they were using. But there's a reason why I haven't removed the labels yet, and I was considering doing it in the video here. I really want to do it, but I'm not going to, because I'm hoping there's still going to be further action taken on these sellers and the fact that fake cells are being sold here. And if that's the case, these cells need to be turned over to a forensic agency here where they can examine them, and then at that agency they will remove the labels as part of their examination. I think if I were to do it now, it may be difficult to prove later that, well, this unwrapped cell casing, this was actually the Molicel P45B wrap cell that I bought. So I'm keeping them in the condition they are, hoping that some further investigation will be done on them. Okay, so now finished the first group of tests on the real and the fakes. Going to charge now for the 23 amp, and then that's it for these tests. Just a real quick point I wanted to make, talking about confronting the sellers of these two fake cells. I already explained why I didn't do it. Just wanted to expand on that real quickly. I've lived in Ukraine a long time. I know exactly what will happen if if the sellers are confronted. They'll say that, oh, they're genuine. They have the QR code, they have the label. These are genuine cells. That's number one, first reaction. Then number two reaction will be upon being presented with irrefutable evidence that they are fakes due to my testing. And when they see evidence they are fakes, they'll say, oh, it's not our fault. We didn't know. We got them from XYZ distributor. They told us they were genuine. We're not guilty. It's not our fault. So then the next part of the investigation goes to the distributor, right? XYZ distributor. So we contact XYZ distributor, show them irrefutable evidence that the cells they're selling are fake. They say, oh, we didn't know. It's not our fault. We got them from wholesaler, so-and-so in China. They told us they're real cells. We didn't know they're fakes. So then, as you can see, it's going to go on up and up and up in the chain, everybody passing blame. And I think it's going to be very difficult to find who is actually scamming people with these fake labeled P45Bs. I am not even sure that they're being relabeled in Ukraine. They may very well be relabeled in China from some unscrupulous seller there who's relabeling super cheap low amp cells and then selling them as P45Bs. And maybe the wholesaler here looked on Alibaba somewhere and saw P45B, $4, $5, $6. Here's one you can get for 91 cents. I'll order those P45B for 91 cents. So I still do want to turn this info over to news organizations again. Hopefully they'll do some kind of investigation because this is important. But my instinct is it's going to be very difficult to find the source of these fake cells, who's rewrapping them. And like I said, I think everybody selling and distributing here in Ukraine, they're just going to say they didn't know and pass the blame. That's my expectation. We'll see if it turns out differently later on. Okay, so a brief recap, how to spot fake cells, well, at least with the Molicel P45B. Number one, first, as you saw here, looks can be deceiving. The counterfeiters of cells, they can make labels and QR codes that look really realistic. The color looks really similar, so by looks, it's really difficult to tell. I wouldn't go just by looks. Second, by weight. Yes, you can check the cells by weight if you have a jewelry scale that's really accurate like I have here. If you know the reference, you can use my spreadsheet to compare the cell you're checking against the ones I've tested. 3, internal resistance. Yep. ACIR, as you saw, that's probably the best quick way to check for fake cells. Again, you can use my spreadsheet. It's very handy, and look at the results. I checked every cell that I've tested. I did ACIR, and you can compare your cell against that. The Chinese counterfeiters, as you can see, they can fake the label, they can fake the weight, get that really close. They can even come close on capacity, but so far, none of the counterfeiters can fake the IR, at least not yet. Get a $50 tester like the one I have, and it's a great way to quickly spot fakes. Number 4, voltage drop. Of course, that's an awesome way to check individual cells if you have a tester like the A-Torch one that I have. Put your cells on the tester and you can compare the results you're getting at different amps to the results that I've gotten. Okay, but I can already hear you saying it. I'm not a battery pack builder. I don't care about individual cells, checking individual cells. I'm just interested in my battery pack. Is it genuine? Is it fake? How do I know if my battery pack has real cells? Well, that's a good question. For example, let's say you bought, again, I'm in the Surround world, let's say you bought a 72-volt Surround battery pack that's supposed to have Molicel P45Bs, and you want to test if those are real cells or if it has fake cells in there. Well, that's a bit harder, unfortunately. First, let's talk about IR. You can measure the full battery pack IR, DC or AC. But the question is the correct IR to look for just the sum of the total of all the cells in there? In other words, if you have Molicel P45Bs that should test around 6.4 milliohms, should a 9P pack, for example, a 72-volt 9P pack, should that IR just show the 6.4 times 9? Or is it something else? Remember also that this doesn't take into account any IR that the BMS can have, because your signal, your power output, it's going through the BMS. And I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't have the answer to this question if the battery pack IR should just be the sum of the individual cell IRs or not. EEs, please chime in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback and know if that's a way to check for genuine cells on the full pack. Next, of course, is voltage drop. Now, that's a great way to check if you have real cells or not, but with a full battery pack, it's a bit harder. You could set up a test with whatever your PEV is to try and load the pack, for example, with 10.416 amps, like the test that I've done here and many times. If you have a Suron or electric motorcycle, that could easily be done on a motorcycle dyno, but of course, most people don't have that. You could try to find a long section of uphill road, look at the display on your BMS or the display for your controller, and try to pull the correct amount of amps where you're pulling 10.416 amps per cell. For example, you have a 9P pack, so that would be 10.4 times 9. Obviously, it's a bit difficult to do practically, this kind of test, but you can figure out a way to do it and pull that constant load on your pack. Then you can see right away what the voltage drop is from a full charge and compare it to the results that I've got here. So anyway, sorry this video has been a little bit long, but I hope it's been helpful and provided some good information to help you spot fake cells and avoid getting them in the future. Like and subscribe. Please comment, leave your feedback about it, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay, prologue here. Kind of adding something to the video that I wasn't planning to. The video's already edited, rendered, uploaded, everything's finished. Now I have a little bit of an unboxing. As I mentioned in the video, when I was filming it, I checked both sellers of the fakes to see if they had more, because I wanted to order more samples just to test if 5 months later they're still selling fakes, and they both showed they were out of stock on the P45B. After I finished the video, I decided to go ahead and contact both of them directly, and lo and behold, one had a P45B, had P45B still in stock. That was the seller Rokatok, and then the other one, which was Service Center Akron, was still out of stock on P45B. They said they're getting in 1 month. Interesting if those will be real fake, but they did have a P42A, so I wanted to see if they're continuing to sell fakes. So I have 2 new cells, going to open here to show that they are from those sellers, and we'll put them on to test. Okay, I'm just doing this to verify that it came from where it said. So this is package 2780. I don't know offhand which one is from Rokatok, which one is Service Center Akron. Okay, so we'll see. Again, this is 2780. A nice packaging job. If they're fakes, okay. I guess I can't pause it because I need to show. This is kind of important, so there's no question as to where the cell came from. Hold on again, I'll show the label there. 2780. Okay, this is, can you see there? This is P45B, so this must be from Rokatok. So hold on. Oh, I want to do this all continuous shot so you know. So I'm going to write on here Rokatok 1224. So there, you saw, opened it. It's that tracking number 2780. I hope my information is not visible on there. And oh, what is, by the way, want to mention, I noticed in their ad, sorry if I don't have great light here, I noticed in their ad that they were showing this serial number, production number 20409. And by the way, that is the same serial number of the one I got from them back in July. So it will be interesting to see. I'm guessing these are going to be the same fake cells with the same performance as the previous, but we'll see. So again, this is Rokatok P45B with 20409, which I think is the same serial number, same date code as before. Okay, second unboxing. This is package 7196. I'll show a screenshot of the order. So that other one was from Rokatok. This has to be Service Center Akron. By the way, I was checking again the results from before. The one that performed really terribly, I mean the worst one that was comically bad that ended up winning it, that was from this place, Service Center Akron. Also, I was doing a little more research on both of these sellers. Again, like I said, they're kind of mom and pop, small. I'm sure they're getting the fake cells from a bigger distributor. But I did a little more research, and I'm going to put on the screen there, here. As I was saying, I was doing research on the this company, no, both of them actually, after I finished editing. And this this company, Rokotok, I didn't find really any more information than their Chrome listing. This Service Center Akron, I'll put on screen here. I found some Google reviews of them. No, they have a Google page, and Google reviews, and several users mentioned them. They do like mobile phone repairs and sell parts for that. Several customers posted negative reviews saying that they gave them fake, copy parts, fake Chinese copy parts of like screens, batteries, stuff like that. So not saying that everything this place sells is fake. Also make a note, I have to confirm, but I believe this is a place in July that I got 2 cells from. It was a P45B and a Samsung 40T. I'll write on the screen here to confirm that that's the case, but I think this is the place. And the 40T was genuine, no problems with that. That was genuine. But anyway, so this is, like I said, this shipment, Service Center Akron, I contacted them. They're out of P45B, but they said they're getting in 1 month. They had 42A. I said, okay, go ahead and ship me a 42A. So let's see, we'll test it. Luckily I have a database of results already, so you can compare to. So here it is. Let's see, what is the date code? It is, can you see there? 2N118. 2N118. So I am going to write here on this cell.
I'm going to write, you can see it, Service Center Akron 1, 2, 2, 4. Okay, so again, the one from there, P43, it's 2N118. We'll need to check and see if any of my
Okay, so there they are. First thing I'm going to do, and I'll show this in real time, I just got them, unboxed them, nothing else, no charge, no nothing. Gonna obviously charge, and we'll check what the current temperature is. No, they're both general room temperature. They're like 21 Celsius, winter time. So gonna put them on for ACIR. Hold on, we'll do it in real time here. Okay, first P45B from Rokotok. So let's see what that one shows. And this I remember by off memory. It should be 6.4. And there you go. I can already tell you 99. Get this in a better spot so it's not such a terrible background. I can already tell you very high chance this is a fake. Hold on, let me move this. I just want to show here that it is what it is. So again, this is the one I just got. This is December, no, middle of December now, 2024. So I have to check on the date code, but I think it's the same date code as the one I got back in July. And we already know from previous testing, my database that I created, that real P45Bs, they all test between like 6.3 and 6.6, no, generally 6.4 for internal resistance AC, not affected by temperature. And there you go, 11.12. So already I know 99% this is a fake, and probably the same fake that I got back in July. But of course, going to put it briefly on the test and see how it does. Okay, next we got P40, sorry about that reflection, that's kind of nasty reflection there. Next we got P42A 2N110 that just arrived, middle of December, Service Center Akron. I don't remember offhand what the P42As were showing for IR, so we'll pull up, sorry about that on my hand, pull up on the screen here my handy database of 4 months of work and see what it shows. 882, that seems pretty good though. That's a good initial thing. Hold on real quick. I'll put on the screen here, but I don't remember offhand what P42As were showing. But let's check quickly on the database. I'll pause and then come back. Okay, so I'm back from checking the spreadsheet, and I'll show on the screen here. So the 3 other P42As I had, all tested right around 900, 923, 902, I think. So anyway, this is a good sign because, like I said, ACIR, hard thing to fake. This is consistent, actually a little bit better than the other 3 I've had. So that's a good sign. I'll put it on, obviously, to check and see. And like I said, this one is from Service Center Akron, which I got the terrible P45B from. And I'm not trying to, I just want to make clear in here, I'm not trying to claim that this seller or any seller is just selling all fakes. Like I said, as I remember, and I'll confirm on the screen here, in summer, I believe I got also from at the same time a Samsung 40T that was genuine from this place, but the P45B was terrible. So anyway, IR AC looks really good. That's a good sign. So I just want to show here, yes, I was right about it being the same group. So this is the one that I just got December from Rokatok 20409. Okay, and let's add to it. This is the one that I got from the same seller, Rokatok, right? Yep, in July, 5 months ago. So as you can see, well, this one has a little more wear on it from me handling, but these are the same, you know, grouping, same exact date code marking, same fake, probably. I mean, we'll put it on the test to see, but I can already tell from ACIR, 99% chance, this is the same fake as this, which means that this seller, at least since July, from July to December, this seller, I'm sure others have, I'm sure they're getting them from some distributor, and they're not the only one, but they're the ones that I caught. This seller, Rokatok, has been selling these same fake P45Bs at least for 5 months. One other quick thing I got to show here. I just put on the charger, both of them just put on the charger. I should have, well, actually you can see on the ACIR test, but I didn't notice it. The voltage, this one just put on the charger, it's 385, so obviously something has happened with this. It's not at the factory storage voltage. Yeah, so just look back real quick at the invoices, and yeah, from Service Center Akron in July, I got 2 cells. P45B, obviously that was the worst performing fake, but the Samsung 40T I got from them was genuine. First, P42A, Service Center Akron, and we'll compare it to our other P42As. So 6800, and again that's P42A from December. Now P45B, be great if it focused. P45B from Rokatok. DCIR. I heated these up a little bit on the radiator, but they're pretty close to ambient temp, so let's say 21, approximately 21 Celsius. So first, so I just double checked the weights on the P42A, and the all other ones tested like 65, 91, 66. So that is a bit strange on the weight here. Okay, let's do this quickly. Both these finished charging. Which is real, which are fake, we'll know in about 3 minutes on each. Okay, Service Center Akron P42A. One quick thing to mention. I thought it was real based on internal resistance. Both those looked real. Weight at 68 grams. Weight totally does not match. All their P42As are 66 grams. This is 68. So is it real? Well, we'll see in about 3 minutes here. 23 amp test. Starting temp 20.9. 23 amp. P42A Service Center Akron. 366. That's pretty low. And obviously after we're going to compare with the real, no, with the other ones. Seems pretty low. 355, 26.5. No, actually it's pretty much in line. The other was 367 at 3 minutes. Other P42 was 353 and plus 13.7. 353 and plus 13.7. Okay, 2 minutes. No, 352, 33.4. We're doing worse. There's some part of it is related to temperature. Like I said, higher temp, 27, 28, 30 starting temp, cells do better. Less voltage drop and less temp increase. Okay, 3 minutes. 346 and 39.0. Okay, P45B from Rokatok. I'm expecting this to perform the same as the other fake P45B I got from them. Starting temp was 420, 419. Note though, we have a low starting temp of 19.4. Nothing I can do about that. It's probably going to slightly affect the results. Oh, that is serious voltage drop. 346, holy cow. Okay, 1 minute. 336, 27.3. That is terrible. That is absolutely horrendous voltage. We're at 35.9, 334. Under these temperatures, the real P45s did 354, and in warmer temperatures in the summer, real P45s did 360. So for comparison, real P45s 360 in warm temperature, 354 in these colder temperatures. As you can see, we are not at 354. Now how this compares to the other one from the same place I have to analyze. Okay, this is horrendous performance. 3 minutes. 42.4, 330. P42A 5560 test. Service center cron. Starting temp 21.8. $398. Just as a reference, the real ones did 357 at the end of 10 minutes. I think we'll have a little worse performance. Now, if this is genuine, it should be a little worse because of lower temperature. 3 minutes coming. 24.1, 382. Coming up on 5 minutes. 26.0 and 376. So, sorry for the white screen. Just to show you here the number we're looking at on the previous P42As. This is a 5560 test. So they ended at 357 and 357, plus 7 and plus 5.8. So like I said, I don't expect to hit those exact numbers because that was in warmer temperatures. But anyway, that's how the previous real from NCON P42As did on this test. Okay, come up in 10 minutes and we're at 357, so good job. Good job. 357, 29.2. Exactly the same as the other real ones, so pretty clear that this is genuine, but very strange about the weight being 2 grams more than the others. Okay, P45B, fake rocket tuck, fully charged, 5560 test, 10.46 amps, starting temp, 21.0. 387. And for reference, real P45Bs on this test after 10 minutes did 362 and 361. As we're coming up on 3 minutes, I'll show you here just for laughs. So this is real P42A that we just tested, the real one. At 3 minutes, it was 382. And P42A, remember, has much worse performance than the 45s. So the P42 was 382, and we're already down to 373. So obviously, it's not a good fake. 25.8, 372. Come up on 5 minutes, the real P42A was 376. So much better than this fake P45B. 28.7, 367. So just for comparison, we're only at 745 now. The real P42As, remember this is a 45B, the real P42As did 357 after 10 minutes, so this is already worse than that. And the real P45Bs at 10 minutes did 363, 364. So while we're waiting for 10 minutes, I'm going to focus on the cell now. I just want to point out something, why this is actually, I think, kind of a more insidious fake than the other one that performs really terribly. The reason is, this is actually not that bad of a fake. It doesn't perform that terribly. Yeah, the voltage drop is worse, but it's not really terrible. It's still kind of a high amp cell. You know, I'm sure the capacity is going to measure like the other one, which actually these measured more than the other P45Bs, so it's going to show good capacity. My point is that it doesn't really perform that terribly if you don't know how a P45B should perform. So if you were just a normal layman, not a battery expert, buying these, for example, for a drone application, and you didn't know how the real P45Bs perform, you might think, yeah, this is a real cell, because they don't perform, totally terrible like that other one did. So it's actually a very, like I said, insidious, kind of dangerous fake, because it actually performs not bad, and it may fool people who don't know, you know, how the real P45B should go. Okay, 33.6, 348. That's still quite bad. Okay, capacity P42A, fully charged. Temp is only like 20 Celsius, but anyway, gonna do it at a slow rate. 0.9 amps. And that's it. See it in 5 hours. Sorry, I didn't get the 2.8. Measurement 4102. Okay, P45B, Rokatalk. Hot off the charger. I should say cool off the charger since it's only 19.7. 421, capacity test, 0.9 amps. And while rockets are heading here from the terrorist state, which is so fun, decided to do a quick last one, 35 amps on both of these. So P42A, P42A, the result we're looking for, 35 amps. 355 initial, 316 after 3 minutes. P45B, initial voltage drop 363, 365. 3 minutes, 330, 320. 35 amp P42A, starting temp very low, 18 C. $3.43. 1 minute. 31.5, 333. 2 minutes. 44.7, 326. And again, as a reminder, previous real P42 did 316. 316 ended and plus 32.5 C. So, coming up on 3 minutes. And interestingly, this is actually performing better. This is like a super P42A, performing better than ones I had. 317 and 56.4. So what I wanted to say is this actually has performed better than the P42As I had from Encon. Pretty much every parameter has performed better, but it's strange that it has 2 grams higher weight. Okay, last test of this extremely long project. 35 amp, the fake Rokatalk P45B. I even heated it up with a blow dryer to try and warm it up a little bit for the test. Give it a little better result. I'm sure it's not heated all the way through though. Anyway, so we'll say starting temp of 27.0. 335, that's pretty low. That is a lot of voltage drop. 1 minute coming up. 41.7, 317. Okay, and as a reminder, the real P45Bs ended this test at 328 and 330. So 306, 56.0. That's hot too. And remember, these are still being sold on the Ukrainian market right now, as of this recording, mid-December, as authentic P45Bs. They're not, they're fake. Probably they're being sold also to the military. And you can see, performs way, way worse than a real one should. Test for real cells was 328 and 330. So here we come. Very hot, by the way. Oh shit, it's very hot. 71 and 297. 71.9 and 297. Okay, so the really quick 30-second conclusion. I'll put the chart up on the screen. Conclusion is P42A from Service Center Cron is real. It performs very similarly to the other P42As. And on the 35 amp test, also did similarly. So P42A is real. The only thing about it that differs is it has a little more capacity, but again, it's new compared to the other ones were tested after use. And this one, weight 68, that's kind of strange. But that, everything except the weight looks totally, you know, performance is perfect. P45B, like I said, fake performance, very terrible. There's the 23 amp result, there's the 5560 result, and as you saw just now, did the 35 amp and did terrible down to 297. Real ended that at 328 and 330 plus 25 Celsius. This gained 45 Celsius and almost down to low voltage cutoff. Actually, it is really low voltage cutoff. So again, very, very bad performance. But this P45B appears to be the same as the same one I got in July from the same seller with the same performance. So this fake cell looks like it's been sold continuously at least since July until mid-December.